Be part of our brand. Leadership for God and country.
Leadership TV for God and country.
You're welcome to Leadership Podcast. It's another edition of The Big Issue. And of course, let me just tender a very passionate apology for starting this program late. It was due to unforeseen circumstances beyond our control. As usual, I'm your regular host. George Agba is the name. And with me here in the studio is our very vibrant in-house analyst, Silas Ezewu.
Welcome to them.
Well, before we go into the big issue, which has to do with screening of ministerial nominees, as Senate sustains the bar and go culture, let's look at some of the issues in the news. And we have subsidy removal, Labour faults Tinubu's broadcast, insists on strike. Well, the organized labor has expressed doubt on the sincerity of the interventions President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has rolled out in his national broadcast to Nigerians to cushion the effect of his administration's policy, very harsh policies, on the citizens. The Labour vowed to proceed with its planned protest over the removal of petroleum subsidy, saying what the president told Nigerians was neither here nor there, considering that after spending 2 months in office, there was no concrete measures to bring immediate succor to the people. Well, the organized labor said it was also the duty of security agencies to provide security for them as they embark on their nationwide industrial action. This is also coming against the backdrop of the warning handed down by the Inspector General of Police of any attempt of breakdown of law and order. Well, Silas, the organized labor said they're going to proceed on their strike tomorrow. And one of the reasons they gave for proceeding with their industrial action was a vote of no confidence that passed in the broadcast made by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu yesterday, being Monday, on the State of the Nation. The president in his broadcast reeled out certain palliatives and then explained vividly how he intended to spend the 500 billion naira set aside for palliative to cushion the effect of the removal of subsidy. But the organized labor will take none of that. They say their protest stands. This, of course, is the very first time, Silas, we are seeing NLC coming out, all guns blazing, taking a stand, stick by it, unlike what we have been seeing of NLC, TUC, and other labor unions in the past. That since after the tenure of Comrade Adams Oshomole, we have always seen threats of strike. They call them to a meeting. After the meeting, they reach a truce. They call off the strike even before the thing starts. The labor unions, like this time around, they are very, very serious about it. What do you think?
Yeah. Sorry, thank you for that question. Actually, the union is a lot of people have written the labor union off as being lackeys of government, who just shout strike, and they're able to negotiate behind the scenes and get paid off, and don't let it again. Government carries on as though nothing's happened. And then this particular labor NSPC, I've also had people saying they are protect Bulldog because when this person was initially declared, they seem to have seen some kind of merit in it, you know. Say the government has released promise, but you know, people quickly wrote them off that they're sold out. So as the economic hardship begins to bite harder on members, I think they said that look, this game has gone beyond the elbow. Let us act. Because all over the country now, 2 months people have struggled with just surviving due to high cost of everything. And already, even if you watch around the country, you see that there's some pockets of violence due to hardship, beginning to, where there were no crisis before. Adama used to be one of the most peaceful states in Nigeria. But to see young men, getting into warehouses to look for food items in a criminal way, okay? There was also one in the machine. And then earlier on, there was some first of the protests in those states, and so on and so forth. So these things are showing that a lot of people are going through a lot of trouble just keeping up afloat. So NSC seems, look, this government announced this draconian, harsh economic policies without being ready to catch people, when they want to sink. So all these measures are now, this thing I do now is like an afterthought. One would have expected that since the president wanted to remove this subsidy from day one, the period between which he was declared the winner by INEC and the time he took over was more than 2 months, 3 months. That was enough time to have sat down, with all the stakeholders and found a middle ground. So by the time he removing the subsidy, the plans of the new government to roll out things will be, it won't take more than 1 week to see those things. But this is 2 months. And she's telling me, I will do this, I will do that. People are tired of hearing, I will do this. They want to see action. And the same way you acted quickly to say something is gone. They want you to also
quickly to really
bring in something
is
that
yes. Well, thank you.
So I know that the Senate and some other groups are asking. I've seen even a post by kind of begging them not to go strike because business will suffer and all that. So let us see between now and midnight whether next day will reconsider. But the thing that the brokers, the president yesterday, seem to, it's not about cultivating something. Cultivation takes how long before you can reach out to the farmers, reach out to this. I was asking somebody, so I was saying, government doesn't have that kind of land, even promising to cultivate. 500,000 crops, 400, all those things measuring. You have to even work out an agreement between the states how to raise the land. Even if you plant it now, it's next year. So before this grain is coming, before this thing planted will come in, those who will die of catch will have died already. Then of course they want to release some grains from the strategic grains reserve and so on. Do they have the channels, logistics, data on how to even share this thing out? So everybody looking at that. This thing that I'm mentioning is not concrete. It's just promise on paper. Look at he has taken. Let me just come to a point. He has gotten two. He explained that somebody wanted to be president of his life, as claimed, and still got it through whatever means he got it. We have an idea of who will work with him. So that as it's being sworn in, is announcing those who will take over, demand the different areas of Nigeria's economy and the public space. But 2 months after, you don't even have people in place. And you say, I'm going. So there's a little bit of unpreparedness about this government that one did not expect from the government has been in power for 8 years, and the man who has been plotting to be president by hook or crook for maybe 30 years. So I think that's why Edepo is being skeptical about this broadcast yesterday. But that's how it goes.
Well, thank you, Silas, for that insight into the planned nationwide strike by the organized labor who are actually protesting the removal of subsidy, especially as it has caused untold hardship to Nigerians who are actually bearing the brunt of the policy of the Tinubu-led administration. Well, away from that, let's go to the big issue of the day, which is screening of ministerial nominee as Senate sustains the bow and go culture. Well, the ongoing screening at the National Assembly has been described by not a few Nigerians as being true to type. And of course, the idea was that despite the reassurance that the screening would be a rigorous one, some of the nominees that were screened yesterday and the ones that are being screened today have been accorded the privilege of the bow and go convention. Well, Silas, it's an ongoing process, and of course it is live, and we don't need to start explaining. Yesterday, the governor of Rivers State, a staunch opposition man from the People's Democratic Party, was screened, and he took a bow and go. Some of the nominees, especially those who are senators, were accorded that privilege of esprit de corps, where they wouldn't even be subjected to any scrutiny. They would just take a bow and go. It goes a long way to put a mark on the crops of those that will constitute the new cabinet of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And of course, in the process, we observe that even the ones that were being used as scapegoats, used to fill in the gap, let it be as if, yes, a screening is actually taking place. We saw them faltering in a way, like the professor from Benue State, the ministerial nominee from Benue State. And then we have one of the ministerial nominees too from Taraba State, who on the floor of the Senate, it was actually brought up against him that he has a case in which the Supreme Court had banned him from holding public office. He denied it and then came up to say that, look, a federal high court had given him a clean bill of health over that matter. But the Senate president insisted that there are two conflicting judgments, and the matter was kept in view and said it was going, the Red Chamber will investigate it to really come up with. That shows that if other ministerial nominees have been screened and scrutinized the way some of these other ones, the microscopic few, were being scrutinized, then we would have seen some kind of baggages most of these ministerial nominees are carrying. This culture of buy and go, most Nigerians are not really comfortable with it because it does not really project, it does not really give the opportunity to bring those that are going to man the ministries, those that are going to be taking key decisions in the cabinet, to face the public, show their credentials, and then show more why they have the quality to become members of cabinet in their capacity as ministers. What would you say to this in this regard?
Yes, you have laid out the narrative very succinctly. As Surely, I'm not really surprised. Okay, because Senate, I turned out to be, a paddy chamber. You have more vibrant, younger people in the House of Reps. Okay, those who still have, also looking up to the country for their children. If you look at the symbols of them, are grandfathers already. Those who are retiring as governors, they retire to the Senate.
Are
Those who have been-
you just saying grandfathers, great grandfathers?
Okay, so those kind of people, the Senate is a place for them to come and mingle politically, evening things. Okay, if you go to the House of Rep, you see some hotheads there who are still vibrant about the country and they want to do one or two things for. So and then if you look at even the Senate leadership, the president has a lot of baggage that came out during the election. The Senate president also faces EFCC. These people are tainted by corruption and other allegations against them. So is it this kind of people we're expecting to judge other people? Because I scrutinizing them over some of the things that they themselves are also guilty of, or maybe are being tried for or indicted for. So I didn't expect anything different. The fact that doing pick and choose shows that they are trying to protect their own. In the case of Wike, for instance, it was curious the way why they asked him to buy and go. He was never a senator, but had to manufacture a reason that he has sat before the House, the Senate.
Someone among them that, look, please allow him. He is going to deliver the way he worked in Rivers State.
Yeah, it's part of it. Those Senate folk, those who claim that 5 million people from Rivers State are there. That's the claim that nobody can verify. But in any case, for the man from Benue, for instance, it was curious that a professor like him wasn't sure whether he was born in 1982 or 1980.
He said he was born in 1980
or 82.
and that he was 3 years when he started primary school.
But he mentioned 80 and 82. Then look at the paper and took one position, and they said grading him and all those things. He couldn't see a man that expect someone has come so far in secondary care and public service to be confident to. Is this stage fright or what? I don't know. And then the Taraba person that said he was not. He already, if a court should declare you should not go, that means there's something terrible you have done. I remember when the past that even the Nigerian Senate there declared the El-Rufai should never hold public office. I wonder how they're going to treat the case of El-Rufai when it comes before them. Because they have made a ruling in the past, a motion which they passed, that El-Rufai is not fit to hold public office. It's going to come before them. Let's know how to go handle it. So, but the issue is that the quality of governance we've had from the past has continued to degenerate, worsen over engagement of the Senate, both the National Assembly under Obasanjo, the Executive under Obasanjo, and the Judiciary under Obasanjo. It's only Obasanjo you had people like Oputa and co. Oputa, I think he came to hold that conference, Peter Panel and co. If you look at it from Obasanjo down to Yaradua, down to Jonathan, down to Buhari, if you look at it, so that the quality of the kind of caliber that led Nigeria has continued to depreciate to this moment. So the same thing for the Senate. We've never had such a rubber stamp Senate like we had in the last one. Now we're having something that's going to look like it. Despite all the assurances, look, George, the gentlemen in that house are interested in their pocket, in their own welfare, in their own political economic welfare. The last thing they think about is about the common people of Nigeria. Forget what they say in public. It's really about the political and economic security. Otherwise, can go to places. So if you hear them say bar and go, for some people who they are protected, the other ones are because maybe they are not part of them. And they now have to create them to, like you said, make up appearances. But the president himself seemed to have helped them along the way by failing to attach the portfolios on which they will grade.
You'll be.
Yes,
But the sorry again to cut you short. The chief of staff to the president, former Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila, came out and said that the ministerial nominees are people that let me say, he didn't put it that way, but let me just borrow him, give him a leave of a particular term to use. He said
special purpose.
the lawyer, yes, he said they are brilliant all-rounders that would tend to fit in any portfolio. That is the mindset of the president.
I heard that.
We heard it through his chief of staff.
I had that explanation and I laughed because, you look for you fit people to purpose. It's for instance, you want to employ a person, an engineer, and send him to go and work in the Ministry of Health. It will take me a long time to understand the workings of the health. Or you bring somebody who has studied English literature and say he can be Minister of Works. It will take me a long time to understand the form sex there and the contractor. They just make a mess of him because they won't even understand. Look, let me even remind you. What did the Minister of Education say after 8 years? The last minister said they didn't understand what education was all about, and they asked him to go and head the ministry, and he was there for 8 years, and he admitted that when he came there, he didn't know anything, and that so you can imagine someone who doesn't know anything about it, how long it took him and how for him beginning to understand the rubrics, the core things about him. So I think that if the president did not look for people fit for purpose to solve particular problems, and if the Bajamila is saying that all special purpose vehicles, produced our article, we might find out that we might have people who will be posted in areas that will take a long time to learn, understand, before they can begin to deliver. And there's no time. Nigeria is at the point where we need quick fixes, both quick fixes and long term. But we need someone who can decide this is a quick fix, this is a middle term, this is a long term goal. But the way Nigeria is now on the precipice, we need people who can bring both the quick fix and plan for the future. So if they are bringing it means it's a general thing that they're bringing, and it's not. To me, that's not the best thing we need for them.
Well, I think you seem to be talking the minds of Nigeria here, Silas, because now there is this growing concern about what Nigerians say they expected from President Tinubu and what they are not actually seeing in essence. Because when Tinubu came on board, part of the argument and part of the campaign for him was that he is a man with brains. He's a man who has the capacity, has a knack for going for the best brains. That he's a very good employer because he will always put round pegs in round hole. But of recent, Nigerians are so disappointed that right from the list itself, what they observed was that it is normal, the usual domination of politicians, core politicians, as against technocrats that we're expecting to see dominating the list. And when it now comes to the Senate, what they now see again is that even some of the ones that would have been considered as brilliant, like the professor from Benue State, have come to show some level of incompetence that will begin to make them wonder where did this particular knack for actually identifying best hands and then work with them, that they peddled around Tinubu and them. I think that is the problem now with Nigerians. Although there are some people who say, well, we should actually give that benefit of doubt. That it is not just what we see here, that from the screening that we'll begin to judge what those nominees would do as ministers. Some said it could be like this, but by the time they start, but at the end of the day,
well, yeah, you're right.
A former governors like a Wike, a Badaru of Jigawa State, and the rest, I think the Bonyeman too is among the nominees. These are people that we know very well that after serving as 8 years for governor, would definitely go to the red chambers, see it as a retirement ground, and be sleeping all through plenary.
Well,
it is worrisome, Silas.
It's the president promised young people and women that they're going to put a lot of them. I've not seen the young people he's talking about. Young people, I've seen one or two.
No, but I can give it to the president. When it comes to women, 35% affirmation, he tried.
Yeah, he tried. It's not up to, it's still like 18 now or thereabout. Yeah, at least there's some 7 women among the list of 28. Okay, that's like not up to 35%, but at least that's some number. But I've not seen the youth who promised that it's going to give them a big share. Because when I was looking for youth to vote, you know, when he was struggling to get the text on the youth from P2P, he was promised them heaven and hell. I've not seen.
Well, the former national women leader of the APC,
yes.
Dr. Betodu, who is said to be 38 years.
Yeah.
She should still be in the category of youth.
We have a few.
And then we have this somebody, Okotote. She's also a lady. She's also 30-something.
Is it 30-something or 40?
Yes. The president can comfortably argue with you that yes, if you want to.
He said most of them will be youth, 50% of them, but how many of them are in that category? In any way, this is a time for political IOUs too. You have to have a mix of politicians and technocrats, And then two, you mentioned that Okotote woman. I remember seeing some stories about her that there was some question about her certificate, forgery or thereabout, for which she was removed from office. So, I don't know how that one will pan out, but if such a thing has been in the public domain, because she was in what's that agency again? I remember the agency, but she was executive secretary or something, and the court removed her for something like forged certificate. So, if that were the case, I wonder what the SS screening or background checks did, and not to detect something that is in public domain, that she was removed. And one other person too was also had an issue about their data they provided. So those things don't inspire the kind of confidence Nigerians wanted to see in a fresh government. I'll tell you, when I go outside and talk to people, they are despondent about the whole list. They're saying the same old faces, RFI, Wike,
Badaru,
the man in the Boy State,
Umahi, and
some of them have court cases against even their election. So maybe if they now become minister, because the rest is going to already ministers, the case may be. So I don't know really, but I expect to see that the next list that will come forward, that will better, people of similar caliber than Nigerians will have confidence in.
Well, that is the much we can take for today's edition of The Big Issue. I will thank you, our viewers, for actually keeping tab with us out there. And of course, I will not fail to thank our in-house analyst, Silas, for addressing the big issue. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. Have a wonderful day.
Be part of our brand.